Hi, my name is John DeMartini. I'm the head women's soccer coach at San Francisco State University.
And how long have you been coaching soccer?
I've been here for 4 seasons, starting the next fall will be my 5th year. I've been coaching soccer. I coached my first team when I was 16, so off and on for about 35 years.
Wow. And what drew you to San Francisco State?
Well, I moved back home from Phoenix. I'm from here originally. I went to school here. I grew up here in San Francisco, so moved back home to be near my family. My parents are older, so I moved back to be near them. But my goal ultimately my mom had reminded me when I did move back and I got a job here that I'd already told her I wanted to end my career here, and for some strange reason it happened that way.
And before this season, what was the atmosphere like on the team?
Before this season? Well, if you go back, you have to go back before COVID. So if from a continuity standpoint, we had a break and it allowed us to kind of change the atmosphere. Because the atmosphere was relatively toxic. It wasn't, well, I don't know if toxic's the right word, but it wasn't very positive. It was kind of a mixed bag of belief and non-belief and people hanging out that, they were doing it because this is what they've always done, not because they have passion for it or wanted to be great. There was a drive issue that was kind of missing, like where were we going, what direction did we want to go, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And going into preseason, what were your goals for the fall?
Well, my goal was, and it's going to sound really funny, our goal was not to be bad anymore. Because the prior year, before COVID, the last year that we won 2 games the whole year out of 18. It wasn't a very positive experience. We were picked to finish dead last in the conference, and so my ultimate goal was to keep a really super positive attitude, make sure that we competed every single time we showed up on the field. And competing in our conference is, like in most places, would be enough to win a conference. In our conference, that is the bare minimum, competing every day, because it is the best Division II conference in the country, top to bottom. Mm-hmm. If you took our conference out of California and put it in the Midwest, we'd be a Division I conference. It's crazy. So yeah, we didn't want to be bad anymore.
Mm-hmm. And how did your team take the necessary steps to succeed?
Well, they took the necessary steps. So I keep referring back to the COVID year, but that was like a really amazing time for us. It gave us a chance to kind of retool, revitalize, and think about. And basically what we did was we turned the ownership of the team over to the girls. Gave them some structure. Obviously, I didn't let them just do whatever they wanted, but gave them some ideas about what pieces we needed to look at, to change, to fix. Their input was massive, so the buy-in was massive. So when we have massive buy-in, you're going to have huge amounts of success. And success being, did we achieve goals? Yeah. Did everybody have a fulfilling experience? And I think those things are how you really gauge what's going on with us. Mm-hmm.
And how did you motivate the team?
Well, I didn't motivate them. They motivated themselves. It was intrinsic, right? It came from their belief in what they put together, their core values of the team, what they wanted it to look like and feel like. I firmly believe that, I do silly little things that kind of annoying to people at some point in time. We send out daily quotes of like how to be great, how to inspire people. I do a lot of individual communication within the team, like, so-and-so's having a bad day. I just noticed they're a little out of whack. I go put my arm around them. I have a little conversation with them. It's about communicating on a daily basis with each individual on some level, letting them know that you're there and you care about them. It's just sometimes it's as much as, hey, how you doing today? Hey, how's class? How's this? It's not about soccer, it's about people.
Nice. After an amazing season, where do you guys go from here?
Well, the growth piece is, and it's all about what we didn't accomplish, right? We accomplished a ton, but there were certain things that immediately after the season, the very last game of the year, I came back to my office and wrote a bunch of stuff on the board. Behind me, it's up on the very, very top corner up there. It's the one with the red underlines, and it's all the things that we need to work on for the spring. And it's a quality of leadership thing. It's a communication thing. It's about how the whole team stays competitive throughout the whole year. It's challenges, right? Like we were relatively healthy all year. So at the collegiate level, staying healthy and being, that piece is a massive difference. Like you have 1 or 2 injuries on a lot of teams and it changes the dynamic of the team. the competitive environment on a daily basis is the thing that makes you better. We have to get better at it. We have to get better at it. We had practice this morning. It wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What they were doing wasn't good enough. And we have our first preseason game in 9 days, actually 10 days, and we play the team that we lost to for the conference championship, the very first preseason spring game that we have. So the ultimate goal is to be more competitive than we were last year, and that piece, that drive, comes from, yet again, intrinsic from the players.
Mm-hmm. And as you're building up the program, what kind of players do you look for to play at the collegiate level?
So we identified the type of player. So I had a whole list of recruits that we were looking at, and then we played 3 preseason games, and I completely changed everything that we were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So we now currently have 12 incoming recruits coming in. We went for size, we went for mobility and athleticism. We're going to be a bit young because we have 20 players, and then we'll have the 12 new kids coming in.
Mm-hmm.
In that class, I expect 3 of them to start. So it pushes the environment, and challenges people puts them out of their comfort zone, right? And that's a huge expectation on the ones, on the new ones coming in, because playing time's about, well, as you well know, playing time's about, are you good enough, right? And so if somebody else is training and playing harder than you, they get to play. It's that simple here, right? It's not like, oh, I really like you, you've been around a long time. I have no problem starting a freshman and sitting a senior. That doesn't faze me in the least. That's not a John thing. That's an individual player thing, right? So just creating a really competitive environment, and the kids that we're bringing in are all coming from really competitive club environments. Their high school teams are good, but their club programs are top flight in the country. We have 6 kids coming from 6 of the top clubs in the country,
Wow.
which is pretty amazing.
And what kind of players? Do you have any advice for athletes currently in the recruiting process?
Well,
right
you
now?
know, the recruiting piece is really is kind of one of those deals that's all over the shop, right? To compete, like, you have to find the right fit for you personally. Is the school itself someplace where you can see yourself playing or going to, whether you play or not? If you decided to play your freshman year and then, like, you don't want to do it anymore, are you in an environment where you're going to stay? Are you going to go to, so where do you want to live for the next 6 years of your life? Because most people you go to school, takes them 4, 4.5, maybe 5 years, and they usually live in town another year after they go to school. So it's like, could you see yourself living here? And that's one of the things I do with recruiting, is I make sure people come on campus, and I don't make offers to people the day they come on campus. What I tell them is if you tell me this is the only place you want to go to school, and you love San Francisco, and you love the campus, and you love this environment, then we'll talk. Other than that, I don't, if you're going to shop things around, I don't have any time for shopping. This is where you want to be. This is the way it works. And I think most people try to figure out, the recruiting piece, their parents get involved, and this would be great, and that would be awesome, and this would be good. It's the right fit for you, and it's the first time in your life you're going to make a really adult decision, because you're picking where you're going to live for 4 years or 6 years or 5 or whatever that is. So I think it's vitally important that you find the right fit socially, and then also academically, and then also the soccer piece.
And to end off on a fun note, what has been your favorite thing about coaching?
Well, I mean, for me, it's always been, and when I was a young coach, it was about winning. Now it's about empowering people and watching them grow and learn. This last year's team was probably, of all the teams I've coached over the years, and I've won 2 youth national championships and had another team that went to a national final. I've had a slew of kids play on the U.S. women's national team, full team, youth national teams. This team was by far the most enjoyable, because I got to watch these kids grow from how they empowered themselves to take leadership of their lives and the team as a group, and then the ability for me, being at where I'm at in my life, allowing them to grow and do it on their own, or kind of within the structure of their own, but they made it their own, and watching them grow and own it, it was absolutely incredible. So this last year was probably the best situation I've ever had as a coach, and the proudest I've been as a coach as well, because it's just an amazing group of people. I really genuinely like all of them, which is not necessarily always the case when you coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the absolute truth. I mean, there's kids you put up with, and there's kids that you don't, and whatever. And you this one here was just kind of like, it made it fun, it made it easy. There you go.